Hello, welcome back. I decided I want to change the energy of this podcast because I feel like I'm a bit low energy sometimes. I'm a bit, I don't know. I need this like energy, my energy where I'm like, oh, let's go, let's record a podcast, talk about my life, let's just laugh about shit and life. Well, this is a very serious episode. So, I'm basically age 12. We've established that. I'm a 12-year-old terrorist, so called, in the newspapers. Lots of family stuff going on. School's alright. I'm a bit of a shit, but, I'm getting on with it. Grades aren't too bad. So I'm 12 years old. My confidence is boosted. I'm going around protesting, all of this kind of stuff. And what else is happening at this time? Well, it's not just that. I started Army Cadets at the age of 12. That was something that my family has done, taken part in. My older sister, sorry, both my older sisters, they always seem younger because they're shorter than me. All of my sisters are shorter than me. I have lots of sisters. I have 4 sisters. 4 sisters. 3 half sisters, 1 full sister. 2 half brothers, 3 half brothers, sorry. Crazy family. And 2 step brothers. Technically, don't really see or talk to them too much, but I see one of them now and again actually. So yeah, crazy family. Some of them did Army Cadets, right? That's what I'm saying. Some of them did Army Cadets. My auntie did Army Cadets as well. And so when I was 12 years old, I joined the Army Cadets. That was something that I was attending. This was helping with discipline, things like that, I think. It was like another place that my mum sent me, other than the youth centre. So that was fun, I suppose. It was a lot of being told what to do. I guess that's why I didn't last long. I lasted in that maybe 2 years. Yeah, so what else happened? Well, I just mentioned my sisters, my older sisters on my dad's side. So when I was younger, I knew that my dad had other children. He basically had 3 children in America, another child in the UK, like near where me and my sister live, and then he met my mum and had me and my sister. So he had his first child when he was like 19, I think. He was 12 years older than my mum, so what am I getting at here? So, alright, I'm in one of these moods. I'm just in a funny mood today. So, trying to tell a story about my dad. Right, my sisters, yeah, my family. Okay, so Facebook arrived, didn't it? Facebook was beautiful for families across the world because we reconnected. I'd met my sisters when I was young. Like I said, my dad, we lost contact with him. He disappeared when I was 8 years old, just around the time when my stepdad arrived. And so that meant losing contact with all of my siblings as well. And I knew about them, didn't really, know where they were. Well, I knew where they were, but not really where they were. Knew what country they were living in. So Facebook arrives, and I found, you start looking up your family, don't you? I guess is that just me, or does everybody do that? I don't know. We did that, me and my sister, and we found our siblings in America. So that was cool. We got into contact with them, and then we also got into contact with our other sibling who lived in the UK, and she was in contact with our dad. So then it was like, oh, do you want to get into contact with your dad? And I was 12 years old, a little bit like, yeah, I suppose, why not? Let's get into contact with this guy and see. I don't think I've seen him or spoken to him in 5 or 6 years, but let's see how this is going to go. So got into contact with my dad, and we started like having phone calls, and we would chat and stuff, and he was living in Scotland at the time with his mum. That was cool. I was interested in getting to know him. My mum had told me a lot of stuff about him. Like I say, I knew that he was a heroin addict. She obviously had a lot of bad memories having a heroin addict as a partner. he didn't do heroin the whole time they were together, so that was good. They did have a lot of good times, as he told me. She just remembers the bad times, unfortunately. But that's just relationships, isn't it? And you get to know that as you grow up. When you're young, you don't really understand, do you, about these whole relationship things and how they work and whatnot. Because, yeah, adults, when you're a kid, you just think, oh yeah, adults get together, nothing bad happens. And then as you grow up and you start to have a relationship yourself, you realise, oh yeah, like people can be dicks, people can be cunts, and that's what happens in relationships. So I'm chatting to my dad. Anyway, I remember this one time I was on my way to Army Cadets, and I received a text from my dad. I think I hadn't spoken to him in a little while. He basically texted me and said, I'm really sorry I haven't been in contact. I had to start selling heroin again, and some guys are now after me because I wanted to stop and they wouldn't let me stop. So they've slashed my face, and I've ran away and I've moved down to London, and I'm now living on the streets homeless in London. And I was like, what? I was literally about to walk out the door on my way to Army Cadets that evening, and I got this text from my dad being like, yeah, I'm selling drugs, I've had my face smashed up, and I'm now homeless on the streets in London. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So that was news. That was my new life with my dad. And yeah, as time went on, my mum was a little bit pissed off that he'd messaged me. I just don't know what he was thinking. And I guess he was just trying to be honest, fair enough. But maybe don't put that on a 12-year-old kid. But anyway, like, few months down the line, little time passed, and basically decided that I was going to go and meet him. And so I went to London to meet my homeless father for the first time. And that was an interesting experience. So my sister, one of my older sisters, is a paramedic, and she was sort of looking after him. She lived in London, she was a paramedic there, and she was looking after him while he was on the streets. I guess she couldn't properly take him in. I don't know what her situation was, I'm not really sure. So she decided to, meet up, and I went there, and I went with a girl that I was kind of dating at the time. I was only 12 years old, so it wasn't really a thing, it was just a thing. It was weird. And yeah, we went to London. She went with me, and when I met my dad, I remember walking. It was in Paddington Station, and I saw him, and I knew it was him. I just knew it was him. I recognised him. I knew what he looked like from when I was little. And yeah, I just went over. Was like, all right. And he was a pretty cool guy. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, this guy is like actually sound. He's not too bad, you know. We got on. We spent the day in London. We went on the London Eye. We went all around and just did cool stuff. He didn't attempt to buy me anything that he couldn't afford, so that was good. I had no memories of that, like the last time. And yeah, it was all in all a good experience, really, for me. And one key takeaway that I remember very clearly was him asking me, do you smoke weed yet? I was like, what? It's like, that's a drug, isn't it? I don't do drugs. I was very against drugs at that age. I was not into drugs at all. I had no idea. I just really knew what the school had told us, and I don't know what you know about the UK education system and what they teach about drugs, but it's very scary. I'll tell you that for nothing. And as a kid, I bought into all of it. There was a lot of anti-smoking campaigns, so smoking was a big one. I used to hate smoking as a child, cigarettes, and cannabis, I didn't really know much about it. And then all of the other drugs were just sort of categorized as the same, and yeah, they just seemed really scary at that age, and I I was like, why would you do drugs? People that do drugs are going to end up getting their face slashed and homeless on the streets in London. Hello, Dad. So, yeah, I thought that was really weird that he asked me if I was smoking weed yet. But the key word was yet. Like he knew. So, yeah, I got back into contact with my dad, and that was cool. Dad's back in my life, so that was a nice thing. And he wasn't all of these horrible things that my mum had made out that he was. So I was quite happy about that as well. And yeah, so 12 years old, and the one drug that was okay in my mind, in my head, in my society that I was living in was alcohol. So at the age of 12, I got very drunk for the first time. It's the first proper time that I remember getting absolutely wasted. And I think I'd obviously tried alcohol before. I tasted it. I had a sip of a beer or whatever. However, we went to a party. It was one of my mum's friend's party, and it was a friend from the biker gang. I want to talk about everything without incriminating anybody, So, I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to mention anybody's name. I don't even want to mention my own name. I'm so... I used to be a massive criminal. But I'm not anymore, so that's all good. Anyway. And I think you're allowed to talk about it if it's in the past, aren't you? Like, whatever. So, 12 years old, obviously, proper against the law. I'm breaking the law for the first time. This was wild. And we're at my mum's friend's party, one of the biker friends, and there was lots of alcohol. And I remember there's this guy, and his name's Donkey. I don't think that's his real name, so I'm sure I can say it. I don't know why, but apparently he was called Donkey. Anyway, I went over to him and I was like, "Oh, can I have some of your alcohol?" And he says, "Yeah, sure." Me thinking like this is just a cider or something, I picked up this drink and started downing it, and it was like really strong, like burning sensation. I remember very clearly. But it turned out that this was not cider, this was whiskey. So I'd literally chugged probably like 200 mils. No, I don't know. Yeah, 200 mil of whiskey straight. And yeah, within like minutes, I started to get very dizzy. And it was apparent that I was becoming very drunk. So that was my first experience of getting drunk. I got absolutely obliterated at this party, and my mum was not very happy with me. I remember her walking in, I was upstairs, and she just gave me a load of bread and said, "Eat that." She was so pissed off at me, and I remember being like, "Oh, fuck." My mum is not somebody that you want to make angry. No way. I want to always keep on the right side of her. And it ended up me sitting in this garden, throwing up into a Haribo bucket. And there was photos put on Facebook, and this was a very memorable event on my Facebook, that I was 12 years old and getting drunk in a friend's house. So that was the first time I really took a drug. Was because I thought it was socially acceptable. That was the reason that I started taking substances, legal or not. So alcohol was the first one. Everybody says cannabis is a gateway drug. Well, it's alcohol, it's not cannabis. It's always alcohol. Alcohol is the gateway to everything. Excuse me, I get a very runny nose here in Asia because I eat spicy food all the time. Anyway, alcohol was the gateway. And soon after that came along other things. Like I say, I was very against taking drugs as a child. I thought it was a really bad thing. I thought that drugs were for mugs. And then one day there was a girl in my year and she hung out with older kids, just like I did actually. I was friends with a lot of older kids, so was she. And this is how it all starts, isn't it? You're always like hanging out with the older gang. Anyway, she was in a history lesson with me and my best mate, and she turned to us and was like, "Oh, I've tried weed and you guys should try it because you're gonna really like it." And me and my best mate were like, "A girl's telling us that weed is cool. We're gonna smoke some fucking weed." So we made a plan, and I was like, "Well, do you know what? I know people, because I know older people. I know all of these people that take drugs. I know the people to speak to, basically. So I'll tell you what, I will source the drugs. I'll get hold of some cannabis, and on this day we'll all smoke weed together." So we decided that, and I think we all put £10 each, which got us about 3 grams. It's £10 a gram at that time. And I remember the day clearly. It was a very hot day. It was lovely, lovely weather. And I'd gone to my friend a few days before and said, we're looking to buy some, to purchase some marijuana. If you could point us in the right direction, that would be very helpful. Thank you very much. So he agreed, and met him that day, and we had to wait around for it a little bit, and then we thought, oh no, we need tobacco now, because that's how you do it. You put it with the tobacco and you roll it up into a spliff, as they call it, a joint, a marijuana joint. And we decided that we were just going to do it. We were going to smoke some weed in joints, because that's how you do it, apparently. So first time smoking weed, and we got it, and then all of these older guys, we said, well, we need somebody to roll it now. At the time we were 13. I think this was actually, I remember the day, it was 1 week before my 14th birthday. So it was springtime of 2011? No, 2012. Yeah, springtime of 2012. I was 13 years old and decided that I was going to smoke some cannabis. And prior to this, so we were in year 8, and it was quite common for us to be having field parties. So our group in our year, our age group, were all getting drunk quite regularly at the weekends. We would go to a field. Again, I would supply the alcohol through Dodgy Dave. Dodgy Dave was my man who got me alcohol, and we were having field parties every week. We were getting drunk, and looking back, I have a brother who is 14 now. I think he's 14, and looking at him and thinking, Jesus Christ, we were getting drunk, we were smoking weed, we were doing so much at that age. That's wild. I don't know how that all came about. I don't know who was allowing this. Who was allowing this? Well, it wasn't my mum. She had no idea. I think she knew I was getting drunk, but she didn't know about the cannabis, the ganja, the marijuana, the real shit. So we're getting drunk. We're having field parties. This one day we smoke weed. We get all these older guys to roll it up for us. And it was quite common for us to be hanging out on the school premises outside of school times. It was quite a weird thing, but I think the theory behind it was that that's where the police couldn't find us. So we would have field parties, and then when it got late, we'd always run to the school and we'd be on the school field. At that time, they've proper locked down the school now. You can't really get in. They've put massive gates around it and cameras everywhere. But there wasn't a lot of cameras then, and if there were cameras, we knew where they were, so we just stayed out of their way. And so we spent a lot of time on the school field. So I remember we were on the school field, we just bought our first 3 grams of cannabis, some tobacco to mix with it, because that's what makes it smoke better. So I decided, even though I didn't like smoking, as in cigarettes, I thought they were disgusting, I was okay with mixing it with cannabis because that was socially acceptable. So I'd kind of worked my way around that one and been like, well, actually it's okay now because I'm mixing it with the cannabis. So older guys roll up the spliffs for us and we start smoking. And at first it's like we're just coughing our guts up, okay? As a child, not knowing how to smoke, you've got to you've obviously got to breathe it into your mouth and then you've got to inhale. Well, you just don't know these things. You think you know how to breathe when you're a kid, but you don't. I'm still only just learning how to breathe, really. And so smoking is just breathing with substances. So we got pretty stoned anyway, despite not being able to smoke very well. 3 grams is quite a lot for a 13-year-old child, 3 13-year-old children that have not smoked before in their lives. These older kids were only like 15, 16, so they weren't like, it's not like we were buying off, 20-year-olds or people that were of age. We were still sort of technically buying off kids buying off kids, basically. Nobody was trying to groom us, basically, into selling drugs for them, so that was good. We just bought drugs off kids, okay? That's all I'm trying to get at. And yeah, we got really stoned, and I just remember laying there on the school field just high as anything, and that was great fun. And then there's not much to say about being stoned. It's like you get the giggles a bit, you get the munchies, all of these things that are very common, especially in your first time. You just sort of like zone out, and it was an interesting experience. So we got the munchies, we ate loads of food, and we smoked some more. And then I think we met some other friends that afternoon who were at our school, and we told them, oh yeah, we've smoked weed today. And they said, oh right, well we want to try that as well now. So then we started sharing with all the people in our year, and then, as like a domino effect, it sort of rippled out in that way. And then a lot of people in our year started trying cannabis and having a go on the old weed. So yeah, that basically started. We were having these field parties weekly, and now instead of just getting alcohol, we would buy some weed as well. And that was funny as a kid because you don't realise that the two don't really mix. So we'd get really stoned. Well, yeah, we'd get really stoned, and then we'd drink some alcohol, and then we get more stoned, and then it's like, it's not the same vibe as just getting drunk, is it? I think people socialise a little bit less. Sometimes if people get drunk first and then they smoke weed, they will just whitey, they'll throw up, and it's not a great experience. So, bunch of school kids getting drunk and stoned. What a fantastic era that was. A lot of people put the blame on me. Like, kids' parents would find out that their kids had started smoking weed, and I got the blame a lot because I was the naughty kid in everybody's parents' eyes. Even though, like, it was not me, like, intentionally. People just, me and my friend did it together, and then people were just asking, and I wasn't going to say no. I was like, yeah, just whatever. So I never forced it upon anybody. That's basically what I'm getting at. Because, yeah, I've heard that people do that, and that's, like, quite a horrible thing. So yeah, we got the whole of our year stoned, and that was fun. And then that, for me, that sparked a new, deeper, or so I thought, deeper relationship with these older kids, because they were my source of getting the ganj. And so often I would hang out with them and smoke with them, and I would maybe buy it, and then they would roll it, and I would let them smoke some with me because they rolled it. And then other times they would buy it and I would smoke with them and whatever. You know, we were all just smoking weed together. We were kids smoking weed. Whoever could get some would share it with everybody else. So I started hanging out with these older kids quite a lot more. And I remember this one day, the next the next drug came along. And what was the next drug? So we've gone from alcohol, we've mixed cannabis and nicotine, and that's an interesting combination because the cannabis isn't so much addictive. You can become dependent on it, but it's not addictive in itself, whereas the tobacco is. So further along the line, when I wanted to stop smoking for whatever reasons, it became apparent that I was addicted to tobacco. So I'd become an addict unintentionally, just through mixing cannabis and tobacco. And then drug number 4, are we on? Alcohol, cannabis, tobacco, and then NOS, right? And NOS was a revolution. They call it hippie crack. It's laughing gas. You've probably heard of it. But basically got introduced to that. It was like you just have a balloon. Somebody gave me a balloon and said you just suck on that. You inhale this. It's like, right, more chemicals to put in my body, let's fucking go. And yeah, that was a great experience. I remember the first time actually, I was just giggling, just laughing. So there was this one time we used to hang around at the skate park in our local village, and one day I was smoking a lot of cannabis and doing a lot of NOS. And I remember I was literally seeing ghosts, right, coming out of the ground, like not ghosts as in people that were invisible, but I'm talking like Casper the ghost, coming out of the ground and moving, and I was really tripping because NOS is a bit of a hallucinogen. It kind of stops the oxygen getting to your brain and your blood and everything, and it just, I would say you kind of have a near-death experience, but I'm not really sure because I haven't had a near-death experience, but it seems like you go to a place that is similar maybe to death. So I was really fucked up this one day, down the skate park with all these older guys, and I remember projectile vomiting. I threw up so hard after just taking it way too far. But it was fun, like I didn't feel, it wasn't like alcohol where you feel horrible, it was okay. And then these older kids were all hanging out and I was kind of with them, just tagging along, and there was another friend of mine there, and we went somewhere, and like I said, I was just sort of following along the crowd, and then they started bringing out other drugs, right? And I was seeing them, and it was really new to me, and I was also really spaced out, so I didn't know what was going on. And I was just watching as they pull out these drugs, and they just put them on like a phone cover, and then it was like some crystals, and then they started crushing them up, and I was like, what is going on here? Anyway, it was me and my friend's bedtime by that point. So we said, right guys, we'll see you later. We've got to go now. And off I went. Didn't really think much of it about these other drugs that they were doing. And yeah, then my friend, the girl that had sort of got us into weed or told us about weed, she started telling us about other drugs. She was like, oh, I really want to try ecstasy and LSD or acid. And I was like, oh wow, these sound like so much fun. If they're as fun as weed, then that would be really cool. So I didn't really know about these, and I remember asking my friend once, the one that got me the weed, I said, oh, what about these? And then he said, don't text me that. I texted him and was like, do you think you could get me some acid? I was like 14 years old. I had no idea what it was. And he was like, don't text me that, mate. I didn't do any acid, didn't get hold of any acid. Because they told me scary things about acid. They were like, that's a really hardcore drug, bro. Like, they said to me, these are the older kids. They were like, if you do acid 3 times, then you are clinically insane or something. I was like, oh, crazy. Apparently, that's what's been. That was the word that was going around. Was that if you do acid 3 times, you're clinically insane because you sin so much mental stuff. So that put me off acid a little bit. But ecstasy, I was a little bit keen about. And all of these old kids were like, mate, you're pretty young. I was 14 at this time. I was coming up for the summer holidays after my 14th birthday of year 8. So year 8 going into 9, summer holidays coming up. And during the summer, I'm just hanging out with these older guys. And I'm like, yeah, come on, guys. I want to try it. I want to have a go at this stuff that you're doing. And they were like, I don't know. They were really nervous about giving me these drugs. And I was like, yeah, but I just want to do it. Like, I just want to be part of your gang. I want to be part of the cool kids that do the ecstasy and everything. So eventually I convinced them to give it to me, really. It was very much, they were like, I don't know, what if you're allergic to it? What if something bad happens? They were proper worried, which is actually quite nice, because I think, yeah, not everybody's experience of doing drugs is like that. But also, I was only 14 years old. What the fuck was I thinking? So I got these guys to agree to give me ecstasy this one night. And we went to a place that was named the Crack Shack. And it was like a little wooden shack that was built in a field, just in a random spot in the village that I grew up in. And yeah, we all took some ecstasy together. And it was mental. It was fucking wild. I remember I came up and I was just, now I'm not trying to endorse taking drugs, I'm just literally recreating my own experiences here, so don't think, because yeah, these are the good times that I'm talking about now, and full disclaimer, like, it did go downhill, so don't start listening to this and think, oh my god, like, this guy did drugs at 14 and he said it was really cool and I should go and do drugs. Absolutely fucking not. Okay, the brain is not developed at that age. Okay, I put down a lot of mental afflictions that I have had in my life, including bipolar diagnosis, psychosis, to taking drugs at a young age. So, like, full disclosure, it's fucking dangerous. Okay, like, this is not a big advocacy for taking drugs. But anyway, my experience was fucking wonderful. First time taking ecstasy, 14 years old, I felt like I could fly, right? My whole body was vibrating. I could hear the wind. I could hear my breath. I could hear everything. I could, like, feel everything. Music was amazing. I loved everybody. And it was just utter bliss. And we just spent the night taking ecstasy and smoking weed, and it was really nice. And then came the come down. I remember my friends had warned me about the come down. They said, look, it's not going to be pleasant. You're not going to want to eat. I remember them telling me food is going to taste like cardboard. And I don't know whether it's because they told me that or whether the food tasted like cardboard, but it just tasted like cardboard. So we had a come down. I remember we all sat together and we were just all a little bit, like, out of it. You're just a bit floaty the day after. Just like a bit of a space cadet. You don't really know where the mind is. Just a bit floating around. We watched a movie, we chilled, whatever. And then they warned me about midweek blues, Tuesday blues, so middle of the week. And this is where your serotonin levels get super accelerated. They peak during the high, the ecstasy high. And then a few days later, what comes up must come down. So your serotonin levels are depleted and people tend to feel pretty agitated. people can get aggressive, whatever. It's a downer. You get the down. However, I didn't really feel much of that. I just felt alive. I was great. Things were cool, and I think cannabis helped. I was at this point started smoking a lot of cannabis. So I smoked it pretty much every single day. And I went into year 9, so at 14 years of age, smoking it pretty much all of the time. So that was the beginning of my drug era at 14 years old. And then things started to level out a little bit, and this became my lifestyle, really, was smoking weed every day and taking ecstasy at the weekends and drinking every now and again, although drink sort of lost its appeal. Drink wasn't as appealing to me by that point. It was all about the ganja, it was all about the ecstasy, the love drug. What a great intention that drug is. That drug was literally made to make love. Somebody was trying to make a Viagra type drug, and they basically accidentally made ecstasy. So I think that's pretty cool, to be honest. The intentions behind that drug are wild. And during this drug era, when I was younger, I still had this mindset of some things are worse than others. Obviously a big thing in my mind was heroin and crack were the super addictive drugs, and I never want to take them. I'm never going to take a drug that is super addictive, that makes people uncontrollably addicted, just like what happened to my dad, because that is taking it too far. These party drugs, these are cool, these are chill. I was in the mindset that these are fine. I can do these, and I still have a balance. I'm still going to school. I'm still getting good grades at school and stuff. So I can party and whatever. So that's how the drug era began, basically, how I was introduced to drugs. Like I say, the media will tell you that cannabis is the gateway drug, but actually it's alcohol. It's always alcohol. Alcohol will lead you onto all sorts of things, all sorts of crazy things, as will become apparent in the future episodes as we go on to explore my life further. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the energy today. I decided to switch it up a little bit. I felt like I was being a bit boring, but I was just going through, the first 2 episodes were kind of like my early years, and it's the stuff that I remember the least. And now, hitting age 12 was clearly a big year, and everything that has come since then is much more memory in the past decade and a half. So we're going to explore that further, and hope to see you next week. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you share this with your friends and your family. And be careful, because drugs are dangerous and they should be treated with respect, and you should think before you act. This is the Bipolar Yogi. Peace out.